welcome to a brand new episode of Coming Distractions brought to you by the Nerdpocalypse podcast. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Micah.
Hey.
All right, guys, we're back. This episode, we're going to talk about Tenet. We finally got to see it because we are in the U.S. and everything is terrible. So Tenet is Christopher Nolan's latest film. I'll give the log line for this movie, which tells you nothing. A secret agent embarks on a dangerous time-bending mission to prevent the start of World War III. By the way, no spoilers for this review. This is starring John David Washington, Elizabeth Debicki, and of course Batman, Robert Pattinson. So, Micah, your overall thoughts on this movie before we get into it a little bit?
I enjoy the movie. Not my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. I haven't seen all of them, but it might be my third favorite Christopher Nolan movie. Christopher Nolan is a guy who has very big ideas, and those ideas are executed very well. The one thing with Christopher Nolan, as I look at his filmography, it's a pretty consistent thing, is that he doesn't have strong character work. His characters are there to serve the story, which serves the big idea that he has. Maybe the Dark Knight trilogy is the only one that I see here. Now, I haven't seen Dunkirk, but maybe the Dark Knight trilogy is the only movie that I have seen of his with actual character.
Memento, I would argue, is
Memento.
That's the most. That to me is the most character-driven one he's done.
Yeah, I'll give you Memento also, and that's about half his filmography.
Yeah.
So, but what he does very well. Like when he has an idea, he can write it well, execute it well, and direct his actors well. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was cool. It's a movie that I look forward to watching again.
Right.
But it's not my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. My favorite is still Inception. I really like that movie.
It's a very cool movie.
Yeah, it's slick. It's a slick movie. It's a heist movie. Like it just hits the things. It touches on the things that I personally like.
Right.
But no, this movie is good. I enjoyed Tenet.
So I've seen all of his movies except for Following, which I probably should go back and watch. So the thing with, I think you're right? Nolan is less of a character-driven person, more than an ideas person. Even the Batman movies are more of the idea of Batman than it is the character.
Right.
Right. But in Tenet, what I actually really dug about it is that the idea, I felt the idea actually is bigger than the man, right? I mean, literally in this movie, the main character's name is protagonist, right? Like he doesn't even make any bones about, the character being, not being relevant. Like it's just more about the thing that is happening around them. I thought it was good. It's definitely not my favorite, Nolan movie, but that being said, it's not my favorite, but it's so many leagues above most movies that come out anyway, like of this caliber. The film has a lot to do with, like, I really think the film, like, you should be required to watch it, take an hour or two break to think about it, and then rewatch it again, because there is a lot going on there. I thought John David Washington's role as the protagonist or CIA agent was good. The way the film is shot, it's shot like very Christopher Nolan style, like big grand image, big grand scenes, even like the first big sort of quote heist scene or whatever you want to call it, action sequence, feels like a very Christopher Nolan shot. Like if you took that scene and put it in a Batman movie, his Batman movies, it would make total sense, right? You'd be like, oh yeah, of course, this all is fine.
The first half of this movie, before it gets too deep into sci-fi, felt like a James Bond movie to me.
Yeah, I could see that. Absolutely.
And I'm just curious as to what a Christopher Nolan written and directed James Bond movie would look like.
I would see it. I would see the shit out of it.
Yeah, I'd absolutely see it.
Right, because you texted me, you were watching it, and you're like, so when is he going to do a James Bond movie? Like, yeah, because that's what it feels like, right? But one of the things I liked about it is the movie doesn't waste a lot of time explaining what the big secret is, right? It gets to that, or what you think is the big secret, is what I should say. It gets to it really quickly. Within the first 20 minutes, they're like, this is what's going on. Like, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's like, this is why this thing is happening. And like, this was going on, which is good because it doesn't give you this like 2-hour, like, what is it? What is it? What is it? And then you get there and you're like, oh, well, that's not that interesting, right? Like they get that part out of the way, which is smart. And then they sort of go to what the real goal is at the end, which is important, right? And I thought that was smartly done. Kenneth Branagh as the villain, I thought was really good. I enjoyed him.
Kenneth Branagh is chewing up scenery, man. Like,
oh yeah.
He's got that fake Russian accent. He looks like he's having a good time, man.
Oh yeah, he is. He is. So I really enjoyed him. I enjoyed Robert Pattinson as Neil. I thought he was good. It's always interesting. Like the one thing character-wise with Nolan movies is you can always tell who he realizes are the big up and comers. Like he grabs them because he's such a big name now. He can just be like, give me that Batman guy and Denzel Washington's son. You know what I mean? Like he can just make those phone calls and get these massive actors. And that's kind of dope. And it's cool because you get to see all of the up and comers all in one movie together, which is always kind of fun before they go off and do their major projects. But yeah, I liked it. I'm trying not to say too much because I don't want to spoil it, but it's a lot of fun. It's very slick in the same ways that Inception is. The big sort of idea behind it is really quite interesting. Like Interstellar was that was probably his biggest like big boy sci-fi movie that he probably will ever do. This is a good kind of second act on that.
The thing that Nolan loves doing practical effects.
Yes.
And boy, do I miss that in movies.
Yeah.
This is going to sound weird, but it just feels real. Like it feels tangible. Like cars flipping, like, yo, a real car flipped, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Like if you watch enough of these movies, you can tell when a car is what is real and what isn't, no matter how good the special effects are. And normally, when special effects are done very well, they're a bullet point on the back of the box, right? They don't make the box.
Exactly.
Right? And he does a very good job of this. And just to see some of the visual effects are really cool, man. Like some of the stuff at the end of the movie, like seeing all of the visual effects happen, it just looks cool, man. And they seem like simple enough shots to do, but it's very much one of the reasons I like the climax of Doctor Strange, that film.
Right. Because everything goes fucking haywire.
Right. And I really appreciate a director who is old school enough to like, hey, let's throw some money at this thing. Let's blow some shit up.
Right. Yeah. They gave me a budget for a reason. Let's go.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought Elizabeth Debicki was great as the art appraiser and the wife of Kenneth Branagh's character. I liked her arc. It was an interesting and fun one. Look, I'm a huge fan. I'm a sucker for, like, you referred to Inception as a heist movie, which it obviously is. I see this as kind of a heist movie, so to speak. And one of my favorite things in heist movies is the Ocean's 11 kind of movies, like the wrap up at the end where they're like, now let us go back and explain to you what was happening. Right.
Yeah.
And you get somewhat of that in this movie, and it's very satisfying to me. Right. Because like, as you're like, oh, okay, you're like kind of putting the puzzle pieces together. It's cool. Like, it's a cool movie. Look, this isn't a watch with your cell phone out. Like, this is like, pay attention, because like some people are saying it's really hard to follow. It's not. You just have to actually pay attention to what's going on.
I mean, if you think it's hard to follow, one, pay attention, and two, they wrap things up at the end of it, right?
Right. Like, they explain everything.
Like, you can't, if you're one of those people who watches a movie and immediately starts asking questions before and not paying attention, then you're going to get lost.
Right.
You kind of just got to go with it. You gotta ride this. You gotta ride this roller coaster. And when you're done, you'll get a photo of yourself going down the hill.
Right.
And they're like, oh wow, okay. This is what happened right there.
Right. Exactly.
And that's the type of movie those are the type of movies that I think he makes. And they're super interesting, man. And they're science fiction movies that aren't like head scratchers, man. Like it's my kind of sci-fi is what this guy does.
Right. Well, and the other thing I will say about this movie is, it's smart. It does some really cool things. It's also like while the actors are not the focus, it's well acted. Like, it's very well acted. Like, everybody is really good. John David Washington fucking rocked it, I thought. But it's just a lot of fun. Like, I found myself super engaged, especially in the action sequences, because I thought the music was really dope. It is not lost on me that a lot of if you go back and listen to the soundtrack, especially, a lot of the music in the action sequences where the action sequences are focused on John David Washington, there's a lot of like, it's like digital, like sort of techno music, but a lot of it has a lot of Afro beats underneath, which I thought was just like, it kind of just works for who he is personally. Like, it, like, especially like the opening sequence, like that music, if you go back and listen to the soundtrack, has a lot of like Afro beats underlaid and things like that. And I wonder if that's on purpose because he's black or not. I don't know, but it works for John David Washington specifically.
It fits his style in the movie.
Yeah, it does.
He's a cool dude. And I have tremendous beard envy whenever I look at John David Washington. His fucking beard is tight. It looks immaculate.
Yeah, well, he got money. You don't. That's the difference. He's got Tenet money. Yeah, like the one thing I will say about John David Washington before we get out of here is it's super fascinating to have an opportunity to see one of your favorite actors of all time get his career rebooted by his son and just get to watch new movies all over again. It's like it's like Denzel Washington found the Lazarus pit and he's like, I'm doing it all again. It's like, but new movies this time. It's like, that's awesome. Like, because, like watching it, you go, man, I could see young Denzel Washington doing this movie. And you're like, I am watching young Denzel do this movie.
And look, young Denzel Washington did a very bad version of a sci-fi movie. It was called Virtuosity.
Agree to disagree. That's a great movie.
Look, I love Virtuosity.
That's a fucking horrible.
Right, don't get me started on Virtuosity. All right, I love Sid 6.7, a program that had all of the worst criminals and killers in the world, not America, the world.
Yo, that movie is super wild. Oh my god, loved it. We did that on No Time to Bleed.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Virtuosity. Look, I love it, but it is dumb. It is a dumb movie.
Of course. It's the anti-Nolan movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's stupid.
One last thing I was thinking about when I was actually watching this that I wanted to mention. There's a scene in the movie where you have John David Washington's character, Robert Pattinson's character, and this other actor, Himesh Patel, who plays Mahir. And the three of them are standing in what seems like almost like a triangle formation, talking to each other, right? Like they're not doing anything like special or anything, but it's just the way the scene is shot. That is what people want in movies. Three people who look different, representing three large segments of the world. And like, it would have been nice if one of them was a woman, at least. I
mean, white woman is a
huge character
in this movie,
right? No, I'm just saying in that particular scene. But
I see what you're saying.
But that's it. Like, oh, the diversity. How is Hollywood gonna do it? It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Like, just put people who look different in movies. That's all it is. Like, Nolan was like, hey, here's this scene of like three cool looking dudes. Yeah, like a black guy, a white guy, and a South Asian guy. Yeah, that's it.
And I guarantee you, he wasn't thinking about that.
No, he was just like, that guy seems cool.
About it. Right. Like, this guy applied. This guy applied. This guy auditioned, and he liked him.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it, man.
Yeah, he was on EastEnders, which is probably where Nolan knows him from. So yeah, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. And Aaron Taylor Johnson's in this movie. Underneath a massive beard. That is him, in fact. And he was cool. I liked his character. So yeah, it's a good movie. I would give it probably a 4 out of 5. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Planning on watching it again. Second I get a chance.
Yeah. I'd give it 4 planes running into airports.
Not from the air. I love that scene. That's great. Like, don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's good. I enjoyed it. Go watch it.
There you go. And stay safe if you're going to the theater. But it should be out for rent.
It is available for
right
purchase.
Now. There you go. I would say if you're a big Nolan fan, it's definitely worth buying. 100%.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, guys, that's it for us for Tenet, and we will see you guys next time.
See ya.
You're watching the Nerdpocalypse YouTube channel. Make sure you click that button to subscribe and check out our weekly podcast where we talk about movie, TV, news, tech, and weird stories from around the internet.